have some information from a UNICEF article that I was reading from 2018, and it was saying that in low-income countries, well, let's start with the high-income countries. So in high-income countries, you have like 1 in 5 kids that have never experienced breastfeeding. But in low and middle-income countries, the rate is about 1 in 25 kids have never experienced breastfeeding. And in the high-income countries, it was France, the United States, and Ireland that had the worst breastfeeding rates. Out of the developed countries, it looks like Uruguay has the highest rate of kids that have been breastfed at like 98 or 99%, I think, ever in their lives. And then I think the second highest developed country would be Sweden. And they're very close behind at like 98% or something of kids that have been breastfed at some point in their life. So yay, Sweden, good job. Detail is that in Sweden, parents get about 480 days of paid leave. So you can see why the prevalence for breastfeeding would be so much higher than in other developed countries like the US that doesn't have that type of paid leave. And then you also have countries that are middle or low income that breastfeed more because they can't afford infant formula and there's no safe water to drink. So it's kind of their only alternative. So you have these kind of issues going on. And so I think it's really important that we try to address those issues. We know what it takes to kind of increase the breastfeeding percentage. And I think we can tell that it's really, I mean, we know there have been a lot of studies that show the benefits of breastfeeding. And so even over the span of a lifetime. So I think it's really important that we do what we can to encourage families to adopt that practice if at all possible. And then, of course, you have the wet nurses and things like that. And I think that, it's kind of looked at strangely now because, there are so many alternatives that parents think of as equally beneficial, right? I mean, a lot of parents think of, just feed them, that's kind of, it's come down to just encouraging that your child be fed and well cared for, and you're not so much looking at the quality, right? Fed is best, I think I've heard, or something along those lines. But I think that if we can encourage families to kind of learn about how the importance of breast milk, not be shamed if you haven't done it with any of your kids. I mean, because you can always, talk about it with your own kids as they go through their parenting journey, about how important it is and, things that maybe you would have done differently. And then if you still choose, of course, to formula feed, you can. That's not, nobody's talking about not feeding your baby if you can't breastfeed. But I think it should be encouraged because a lot of the water that we use, I mean, even in America, they're finding traces of all kinds of things in our water, which also is important for breastfeeding, and that kind of where your breast milk is coming from, like drugs or whatever. All those things can also be found in breast milk. So I'm not saying that breast milk is without its risks, but for the most part, breastfeeding is one of the least damaging foods that you can give. I mean, it's especially designed for the human body, for a baby. And for the most part, almost anybody can take in breast milk and not have an allergic reaction. Even if you're lactose intolerant, you can have breast milk without any kind of without it inflaming an issue. And then, of course, we see that, for acne and antibacterial things, it's really good. I was wondering, when we were going through COVID, I was wondering about that, people that were breastfeeding and how they were maybe managing or how they were thinking of the uses of breast milk, because it can fortify an immune system, right? So for babies and that kind of thing, I think that people probably felt pretty more reassured when they were breastfeeding during that time, because because of the benefits. So anyway, I'm rambling a bit now. I don't want to keep you all too long. But yeah, I just wanted to share some of the statistics. And throughout the video, I'm going to be showing little images from my day. I live in a beautiful place, and I just kind of want to intersperse some beauty in my videos. So you're not just looking at me all day, or I'll talk and ramble on. But I'm a real big proponent of breastfeeding and breast milk and giving yourself the best, and making sure that that people are putting the benefits out there, right? Especially, I was reading this article about minorities, especially Black women, and they were saying something about how, because they have a pretty low rate of breastfeeding in general, I think, in the Black population for Black women. And they were saying how if we could increase the breastfeeding rates, it could cut down infant mortality in the Black population by 50%. I don't know how they came to that conclusion. I don't know. But I was like, wow, little things like that you just, you don't realize how much breastfeeding can influence on such a huge scale a population. But anyway, that's it for now. I hope you all are having a fantabulous day, and I wish you all well, and I'll see you next time. Bye.